Good day to you, and welcome back to the podcast Catch It, A New Perception. My name is Katuk. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing this with other people. And thank you for changing the world with a more positive outlook. Moving forward, we continue to talk about some of the things that we've talked about in the past. Hope is always a thread that I believe can come through in every episode of this podcast. To change our perception should be something that we can do every day of our lives. To catch a new perception. To change my perception about me and change my perception about you and change my perception of your perception of me. Many changes. Some of the most common threads in here I've talked about in Word recently. I've actually used terminology for it. And some of the most common threads are our perception, change, and hope. I'm under the impression that these are in every episode. The idea of these are in every episode of this podcast up to this point. How do we change? How do we spread hope? Sometimes spreading hope is spreading hope to ourselves. And how do we change our perception? It's the essence of this program. The program that we have designed in front of us to be able to live different. To reprogram some new ideas. Get rid of some old ideas. The only way that I can learn some new things is to get some old ideas out. Not necessarily to forget, just leave them behind. The one thing I've encouraged you to do throughout this podcast is find the terminology that works for you. Again, a very common thread. Terminology that works for you. Hope that you will be given and hope that you will give. What happens if you share with someone some of the content that we offer within this particular podcast? You have a problem with me calling it a program. I've talked a little bit about that in past episodes and how a program, when I walked into a theater one time to see a show, I was offered a program and it showed what was about to happen. It gave an outline about how the evening was going to unfold in the theater. It was referred to as a program. I hope that this program or this podcast or this episode can do that for you. If it can do that for you, help other people receive that same thing from you. Do you give what it is that you receive? If you receive hope, if you receive love from someone, do you give love? Do you receive love without the terminology being used? How easy is it to just tell someone you love them? No strings attached, you need nothing from them. How easy is it to tell someone that they're beautiful, needing nothing from them, wanting nothing from them, just wanting them to receive the beauty, to receive the love. This is the whole outline behind giving hope, receiving hope. Do we do that through love? Do we do that through compassion? A terminology I maybe haven't used a whole lot. I do use it in my life. My life is about compassion. I do not talk about it in every episode. This podcast that we're doing has a common thread of many different things. Compassion is one of them. The reason I say that is because for me, compassion is everything in my life today. Along with hope, along with a more positive outlook on life. I was told that when I change my thinking, I'll be able to change how I feel. I don't know about any of you that are listening to this podcast today. If you've ever really wanted to change the way that you feel and you think that circumstances allowed you to feel a certain way, I believe that your thinking allowed you to feel a certain way, not circumstances. I've given you a few different ideas about what that means to me in past episodes. And today, the way that I understand this is that if I live with compassion, I live with hope, I live with a positive idea of the future, I will begin to think different. Different than I did when I didn't have hope. Different than I did when I didn't live with compassion. Different. I will think different than I did in any different aspects of my life. Many different aspects of my life. And then going forward, I have an opportunity when I begin to think different, I will feel different. You have every opportunity today to change the way you feel by changing the way that you think. Continue maybe to listen to more of these episodes. Go back and listen to different episodes from the past. Maybe find new people to be around. Maybe the people that you put yourself in front of every day are speaking very negatively. Saying things like, I don't like my job. I don't like what they do. I don't like how they do it at my job. And you have no input, or the input that you have falls on deaf ears. And you think you can't do anything about it, so now you're more distraught. Or can you see it differently? I know where I work I don't have a lot of influence, so I can concern myself with becoming better at what it is that I'm doing on any individual day. I go into my work, I do my job to the best of my ability, I focus on what it is I need to do. I need to stop looking outside of me to the things that I can't do anything about. And the reason I say that is because I need to be able to find a way to change me. I was listening to a song again recently. It's a few decades old, and I really appreciate some of the terminology he uses and what I receive from it. Now, where he was at, I don't know. But he talks about change yourself. Change the world. If you can't change yourself, change the world. If you can't change the world, change yourself. I don't believe that I can't do either. I believe that I can do both. And like I talk about in these episodes, I would rather talk about what I can do rather than what I can't do. In a sense, that's feeding the negativity that I don't want. Now, sometimes I do need to figure out what I can't do so I do know what my options are moving forward. I get it. And I know I have much to learn. And as one of my spiritual advisors, one of my mentors, said to me one time, when I sat before him and I said, I'm here to learn. And this is a man that had life experience that was so incredible. I've shared it with many of you as individuals if you know me personally. And he was just an incredible energy. He was an incredible person. He did some really incredible things in this lifetime. And he shared hope with people to no end. Up until he took his last breath, he was still sharing hope with people. And I sat before him and I said, I'm here to learn. And he looked me in the eye and he said, I'm here to unlearn. Maybe the essence of everything that I talk about in this podcast has to do with unlearning so we can learn. Get some old ideas out of my head so I can make room for some new ideas. I don't think the idea of unlearning some things and realizing that my thinker is sometimes broken, things I have passion about aren't necessarily good for me, to take these old ideas and remove them so I can make room for new ideas. It's time to open my mind. It's time to open my heart. It's time to learn how to be open, to receive love, compassion, to live with intimacy, to be able to get close to people emotionally, and know that that is part of what I want in life. I know I have much to learn. I come into this lifetime to teach and to learn. And my main concern needs to be on what I can learn, not what I can teach. Because what I can teach, other people must be able to receive. So it's not really up to me to force them to receive it. What's up to me to be able to do is open my heart, open my mind, and receive from you. To receive love, compassion, to be able to be open to new ideas, to not force my will upon other people, to not force my will upon myself. You've heard me say it before. Upon awakening, I asked the Creator to guide my thoughts, my words, and my actions. And I asked that I be of service to everyone I meet. That means to be of service to people in their mind, not in my mind. And that means that I need to learn to observe everyone and judge no one. Observe everything and judge nothing. When I say judge no one, I am also referring to myself. I need to stop condemning myself in any way if I want to move forward with a positive mantra. I need to stop talking down about myself, that I can't do something. I need to tell myself I can, and I will. I'm going to succeed at this. Even though sometimes I don't want to follow through. Sometimes it gets difficult and I don't believe I can make it at that moment. Those are lies that I need to shed myself of. And I need to be able to find the truth deep down inside of me. That fundamental idea of love is in each one of us. Sometimes it's deep down inside of us. That fundamental idea of love. I want more of that. I want to be able to spread that. I will learn to. I have much to learn and I have much to unlearn. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Doksha, okay?